Good evening and a warm welcome to all of you to the news at 6, where we get to you the day's developing stories from India and across the world. I'm Tracy Shilchi and let's head straight to the headlines. Pakistani militants attack an army camp in Samba district in Jammu and Kashmir in the wee hours, just 24 hours after the Kathua police station onslaught. Calls for stronger measures to plug security gaps. Congress President Sonia Gandhi meets rain-hit farmers in Haryana, presses on the BJP state government to provide timely compensation. Nearly 70 dead bodies found dumped outside a northeast Nigerian town a day after it was recaptured from Boko Haram militants. The victims appear to have been killed a while back. And Martin Guptill's World Cup record 237 not out takes New Zealand to another massive score and into the semi-finals, where they will be taking on South Africa. And that's our big focus this evening. World Cup co-host New Zealand today stormed into the semi-finals with a comfortable 143-run victory over West Indies. New Zealand opener Martin Guptill shattered the highest individual score record at the World Cup with an unbeaten 237. Here's all the action.
He's really climbed into this.
Another completely in control clinical performance from New Zealand. Their 100% win record in this World Cup stays intact. And here's the main architect of the outright quarter-final victory. Martin Guptill, who was dropped when he was at 4, went on to score a mammoth unbeaten 237, a new World Cup record for the highest individual score.
There it is, struck down the ground. Martin Guptill becomes the first New Zealander to score a one-day international double hundred. The fifth man.
New Zealand finished with their highest World Cup total of 393 for 6 and already seem to have one leg in the semi-final. The West Indies' hopes of a dream chase were dealt with early blows as they lost 2 quick wickets. Chris Gayle and Marlon Samuels tried to get it back on track with some powerful hitting, but with wickets falling regularly, the match ultimately became a mere formality to be completed. For the Kiwis, Bolt took 4 wickets. West Indies were finally bowled out for 250 in 30.3 overs.
I'm still not really sure what happened today, to be honest. It hasn't really sunk in yet, but no, obviously incredibly proud of what happened today, and hopefully moving forward we can win another game and then another one after that. So just pretty proud to get to score that many runs and to get the win as well.
We've just been obviously inconsistent from the tour of South Africa into this World Cup. We've had some good games, we've had some bad games, but we've never been really consistent going forward. So I think going forward we just need to be a lot more consistent than we are at the moment.
The win means the Kiwis will now feature in their 7th World Cup semi-final. They'll face South Africa on the 24th of March. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha Television.
So now that the semi-final lineup has been fixed, let's speak to Jethi Koshy, senior sports journalist, joining us now in studio for what he thinks about this lineup. Jethi, thanks so much for joining us this evening. Quite a match there. But then as far as the semi-finalists are concerned, no surprises?
Not really, because these are the top 4 teams on the ICC list. And pretty much everyone who was following the tournament knew that or expected these 4 teams to make it to the semis. A little bit of a surprise in terms of the way they got into the semi-finals. The quarter-finals might have been, some of the matches might have been a little closer. But that said, I think these are the best 4 teams and no real surprises as such in terms of who's playing who.
All right, my money is of course on India versus New Zealand in the finals. But what do you say? Because these 2 teams, if we actually look at it, they've been quite clinical as compared to the other teams.
Yeah, but then again, you're playing Australia in Australia, so that is always going to be a big deal. And India has lost to only one team in the recent past, which is Australia. And given the situation and the way Australia played against Pakistan, I wouldn't write off India completely, but I wouldn't go summarily and say that they're going to win. But that one is going to be tight. And between South Africa and New Zealand, I think New Zealand now really looks good.
All right, correct me if I'm wrong, but over 410 sixes so far in the tournament.
Yeah.
This is something that we are seeing in recent times, at least as far as runs are concerned. So many of them, quite a disappointment for the bowlers. But is this, perhaps a 2020 effect that we are seeing?
Yeah, a couple of things. One is that if you look at the grounds in New Zealand especially, they're really small. I mean, the square boundaries are nothing more than 55-60 yards maximum. And then again in Australia, there are some of the league matches are played in smaller grounds. And the bat has become something of a new weapon altogether. I mean, it's like the dimensions have become unreal. So the amount of wood and weight that is put on that bat, the punch in the bat is incredible. And of course, T20 has come out with all kinds of new shots and improvisations which have really worked. ICC has often reduced the boundary length. So between all these, 400 sixes, and I'm expecting at least another 30-40 in the next 2 or 3 matches.
All right. Pakistan's Misbah-ul Haq saying that, his money is on India to win in the India-Australia match. But what do you say as far as their performances have been concerned? You, of course, saying that, the home factor may, of course, be there for Australia. But what do your instincts say as far as that match is concerned?
As far as I can make out, Australia is now beginning to feel the pressure a little because till such time that they're getting into the knockout, it was all, part of fun and games. Some teams are not really competitive. The others were close but not good enough. One match they lost in the league to New Zealand. And against Pakistan, they look really, on a very, very sticky wicket for a long time. So yes, the pressure is now gradually beginning to, dawn on the Australian cricketers. And you need to understand that these cricketers have not played, most of them have not played a World Cup final. While the Indians are very used to this whole concept of semi-final, final.
Yes.
And crowd support, irrespective whether you play in Australia or Antarctica, Indian supporters will be everywhere.
Yes.
So that is something that is going to put a little bit of pressure on Australia. And for India, it's very honestly, it's nothing to lose because they might be defending champions, but playing Australia in Australia, the only way you can go is up because they are very competitive. The bowlers have done phenomenally well. 70 wickets in 7 matches is practically unheard of. And I think they're up to it.
That's absolutely right. But let's talk about the New Zealand and South Africa match. That's the one, of course, that will be played on Tuesday.
Right.
New Zealand, of course, in the 7th semi-final, correct me if I'm wrong, and they, of course, are going really well. I mean, they were a pretty solid team, but by the way they're going, especially with Martin Guptill's knock today. But also South Africa, in a way, kind of getting over that chokers tag that they had. Do you think they're really going to go in on that and, that has boosted their confidence in a way?
See, this chokers tag is something every match, every team has had this on and off. South Africans have had it a little more than the rest, that's it. But that said, I think New Zealand looking really good now because if you look at the combination, their bowling has come out really well. And the batting is looking better than South Africa because the South Africans are not having 3 or 4 batsmen who are in top form. They have maybe one AB de Villiers, maybe one other batsman between Amla or Russo or somebody, Faf du Plessis, 1 or 2 batsmen coming good. And a lot depends on how de Villiers performs.
All right.
While in New Zealand, you see that today McCullum, he missed out. But they have a bank of batsmen, they can all come good. And home advantage, I think, is a really serious issue in favor of New Zealand.
All right. Finally, Jaideep, what's your money on? Who do you see in the finals?
I would, if as an India, I would love to say India and New Zealand. But I wouldn't be surprised if it is Australia New Zealand.
All right, we'll have to wait and see, of course, what eventually happens there. But thanks so much, Jethi Koshy, for joining us. And it's been an exciting afternoon, of course, of cricket and still some wonderful matches to go ahead. Thanks for joining us, and we'll be keeping a track, of course, right here on Rajya Sabha TV. We've had a quick break here, of course, at the news at 6. But up next, we're getting you more national news. And Karnataka government now saying that it's not protecting anyone in the IS officer death case. We'll get you more details of that in just a bit.
जम्मू कश्मीर में फिर आतंकी हमला, सांबा में 2 आतंकी ढेर, आतंकी कार्रवाई के सीधे प्रसारण पर रोक। देखिए पहली खबर, आतंकी हमला आज शाम 7 बजे।
Welcome back. Let's get you a top national story. Another Pakistani Fidaiin attack in Jammu and Kashmir this morning, and this time the militants targeted an army camp in Samba on the Jammu-Pathankot highway in Jammu and Kashmir. They were neutralized after a massive military operation, but the fact remains the second such assault in 2 days points at gaping security holes that need to be plugged.
A near replay of the operation the CRPF and J&K police had carried out on Friday morning. This time, the two militants struck at the Army's 81 armoured camp in Samba district on the Jammu-Pathankot highway. The first shots and grenade blasts were heard just before 6 a.m. Once again, the operation to neutralize them lasted several hours. Paramilitary troops called in. The two men holed up on the roadside and sharp exchange of fire. They were shot dead one by one. 2 Indian soldiers were injured.
जो बार-बार इस तरह का जो घटनाएं हो रहे हैं उससे हम चिंतित हैं और उसका उस हिसाब से कार्रवाई भी होगा और सिक्योरिटी फोर्सेस बहुत अच्छी तरह से इसका जवाब भी दे रहा है और आगे भी देगा.
The highway was cordoned off. A pilgrim to Vaishno Devi was injured in the crossfire and is stated to be critical. A combing operation has been launched. Security officials assure that things are safe now with detailed security presence in place.
कठुआ के बाद तो हम लोगों ने काफी सिक्योरिटी को अलर्ट किया है. पहले भी एडिशनल फोर्स आ चुकी है, इसलिए किसी भी यात्रियों को डरने की कोई जरूरत नहीं है. मैं यात्रियों से यही अनुरोध करूंगा कि उनको कहीं भी कोई सस्पिशियस चीजें नजर आती हैं या कोई व्यक्ति संदिग्ध व्यक्ति नजर आता है तो मीडिया के सदस्यों से भी मैं निवेदन करूंगा और या श्रद्धालुओं से भी, कटरा के निवासियों से भी, कि वो तुरंत पुलिस और हमें इसकी सूचना दें.
2 strikes in 2 days and the political attacks mount against the new state government on security shortcomings. Security analysts say causing maximum panic is part of the normal strategy of infiltrating militants. The second such attack, they say, comes with a strong message that much more needs to be done to counter the menace and security threat.
I think that very, very clear steps must be taken in which our troops have been told that anyone crossing the line of control must be shot dead because they are crossing, we don't know who they are and why they are coming. So I think there have to be an offensive defense.
The Samba attack could deal a body blow also to possibilities of the dialogue process starting up again between India and Pakistan, as initiated by Foreign Secretary S. Jaishankar earlier this month. The freeze only gets colder. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha Television.
Meanwhile, with an eye on garnering support of farmers, Congress President Sonia Gandhi continued her visit to states that were recently hit by the unseasonal rains. Today, she is on a day-long visit to Haryana, and after meeting affected farmers in 4 districts, Sonia appealed to the union government to provide fast and fair compensation to them.
Congress President Sonia Gandhi is in Haryana to meet the farmers whose crops have been affected by unseasonal rain and hailstorms. Demanding timely compensation from the government for those affected, Sonia Gandhi promised the farmers to take up their cause with the centre.
सरकारों की जिम्मेदारी है किसानों को मदद पहुंचाना है. उनका क्या मांग है? सही और जल्दी से जल्दी मुआवजा मिले. क्या बोल रहे हैं आप? ये सरकारों का मेरा अपील है कि जल्दी से जल्दी उनको मदद करें, मुआवजा दे.
हरियाणा सरकार या भारत सरकार अभी क्या देती है क्या नहीं देती, लेकिन किसान का खर्चा जो है 12 से 14 हजार रुपए प्रति एकड़ का खर्चा है जो हमने इसमें ब्यौरा अपने दिया हुआ है, और ये ज्ञापन जो प्रेषित किया है ये हम सोनिया जी को देंगे.
This visit to Haryana comes just a day after she visited villages in Kota district of Rajasthan. In Kota too, Sonia met affected farmers and expressed solidarity with them. The Congress president's visit to the state comes amid the party's increased focus on farmers' issues. The Congress party has also been opposing the NDA government's controversial land bill, bringing together all opposition parties on one platform. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
The CPIM today took stock of the just concluded first half of the budget session. The Central Committee of the party evaluated how legislative business was conducted in Parliament. The party office bearers sharpened their attack on the union government on a host of issues, including the way the coal bill was passed on the floor of the upper house. The CPM, along with other left parties and Congress, had opposed the bill, terming it anti-tribal and anti-people. Both have also already dropped hints that they will go to court opposing the just passed bill. The party has also voiced its opposition to the land bill.
लोग विरोध कर रहे थे, उनके अंदर से कुछ लोग राज्यसभा में हमने देखा कि आपसी कुछ बात हो गई, लेकिन लैंड बिल इतना आसान नहीं होगा, ये मैं जानता हूँ।
बाकी पार्टियां जिन्होंने लैंड एक्विजिशन बिल पे और बाकी सवालों पे, जैसे वो अमेंडमेंट जो हमने मूव किया उस पर जिस तरीके के समर्थन दिया, वो समर्थन कल ये दोनों बिलों पे नजर नहीं आया। अब क्यों वो अलग पोजीशन लिए, इसका जवाब वही तो दे पाएंगे।
Karnataka Chief Minister Siddaramaiah today asserted that the government was not protecting anybody in the death of IS officer D.K. Ravikumar and would make its stand on a CBI probe known in the Assembly on Monday. The CM's remarks come amid a growing chorus for the case to be transferred to the CBI from the Karnataka CID. Siddaramaiah said that the State Crime Investigation Department or CID, which is now probing the case, was also an independent body like the CBI. Congress President Sonia Gandhi had called Siddaramaiah last evening and also asked him to have the case transferred to the CBI. Ravi Kumar's IAS colleagues, friends and family besides opposition parties have been claiming Kumar was killed for action against the sand mafia.
I congratulate Madam Sonia Gandhi for the instruction given to the Karnataka Chief Minister to hand over the case to the CBI. I think they could have given it much earlier than yesterday. Chief Minister has promised that he is going to announce the CBI inquiry in the floor of the House on Monday. So anyway, truth has to come out.
With that, let's get you more news from across the country and nationwide. The government has cancelled the bids of Jindal Steel and Power and Balco for 4 coal blocks amid speculation of cartelization. It said a final decision will be taken after deliberations. The Coal Ministry is still to decide on whether the allotted mines will be re-auctioned or allotted to Coal India. Bids for 5 other coal mines have been accepted. An FIR has been lodged against senior Congress leader Renuka Chaudhary after a woman alleged that Chaudhary received 1.10 crore rupees from her husband by making a false promise to get him a party ticket from the Vaira Assembly constituency in Andhra Pradesh in the 2014 general elections. The complainant also alleged that 3 of Chaudhary's followers took 5 lakh rupees each from her husband. Nearly 300 persons have been arrested so far in anti-cheating operations across Bihar. Chief Minister Nitish Kumar has admitted that reports of rampant use of unfair means in the ongoing matriculation examination has sullied the image of the state. Nitish Kumar's order to ensure cheating-free matriculation examination had its impact today, with police arresting nearly 300 persons from outside examination centres. Coming up next, international news. 130 people have been killed in latest wave of violence in Yemen.
In the Maths Factor, we travel through time and space and see how maths has evolved and how it is a part of the world around us. Join us on Rajya Sabha television. Watch the Maths Factor every Sunday at 8 a.m.
Watch the world come alive in your living room. Defining moments. Momentous events. News Tonight, your window to the world. Every night at 9 p.m.
The proposed Factories Amendment Bill 2014 allows women to work in night shifts. But will the increased overtime hamper the welfare of the working class?
How do you see this new definition coming about? Because a substantial number of factories completely go out of the ambit.
Watch our new episode of Law of the Land on the Factories Amendment Bill 2014 this Saturday at 6:30 p.m. only on Rajya Sabha TV.
In what appears to be a mass execution site, soldiers in Nigeria have discovered bodies of at least 70 people. Troops had seized the town of Damasak as part of a multinational effort to wipe out Boko Haram militants, but the discovery of the bodies is just another sign of failure of government troops in fighting the militant group.
On one hand, there is an optimistic Nigerian President Goodluck Jonathan insisting that terrorist group Boko Haram is getting weaker by the day. On the other, there are signs of devastations inflicted by the group, clearly proving that they are anything but weak. Soldiers from Niger and Chad have uncovered mass graves in Damasak, a town in the northern part of Nigeria. The mass graves contain at least 70 to 100 bodies, mostly decapitated. The bodies were strewn beneath a concrete bridge on one of the main roads leading out of town. They were partially mummified by the dry desert air, suggesting the killings took place some time ago.
Amara, cete do be amma wapni wundu warche. Ngona kota me adra betrache. Wundu wapchite. Guru you do go dap kente wundu wapchite.
Earlier, Nigeria's President Goodluck Jonathan had predicted that Boko Haram would lose all its captured territory within a month, but in the same breath, he also admitted that the group's progress has been completely unforeseen. Damasak was seized by the Islamist group in November, with troops from Niger and Chad recapturing it last week. President Jonathan's government has been heavily criticized for its failure to end the 6-year insurgency in the northeast, with the latest discovery painting a much starker picture. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
More than 100 people have been killed in Syria in the past 24 hours. Islamic State fighters attacked regime troops and a suicide bomber caused carnage at Kurdish New Year celebrations. More than 70 members of government forces were killed when the militant group attacked checkpoints and other positions in the central Homs and Hama provinces. The Britain-based Syrian Observatory for Human Rights says several militants also died when clashes broke out, although their toll is not clear yet. The regime controls most of Homs and Hama. An Islamic State suicide bomber, meanwhile, struck Syria's Kurdish minority on Friday, killing more than 33 people as they celebrated the Kurdish New Year. 5 children and many women were among those dead. In fact, the observatory says that since the IS has recently faced setbacks in several Syrian provinces, this is their attempt to score military points to offset their losses. Friday proving to be a deadly day in Yemen's capital Sana'a as well. Suicide bombers attacked 2 mosques during afternoon prayers, killing over 130 worshippers and wounded hundreds. The attack has raised fears of a possibly very bloody civil war.
At least 137 killed and scores wounded. 4 suicide bombers wreaking havoc at 2 mosques in Yemen's capital Sana'a during afternoon prayers. The target, Shiite Muslims. Charred bodies and pools of blood are all that remain at the blast site. Islamic State claimed responsibility for the attacks soon after.
بعد أن قام أحد الانتحارين بالانفجار في الحزام الأمني واستغل فرصة الانتحار الآخر بالدخول إلى المسجد.
United Nations Secretary General Ban Ki-moon has condemned the attacks, calling all sides to immediately cease hostile action and exercise maximum restraint. The White House too condemned the attack but refused to confirm whether the attackers were affiliated with Islamic State.
He reminds all Yemeni parties of their obligations under relevant Security Council resolutions. The Secretary General urges all to remain fully engaged with his special advisor on Yemen, so as to enable him to continue to exercise the Secretary General's good offices in close cooperation with the members of the GCC and the Security Council.
We cannot at this point confirm the veracity of the claim of these extremists that they are affiliated with the Islamic State.
The attacks have reinforced fears that Yemen's ongoing sectarian power struggle could turn into a full-blown civil war. On the other hand, President Abdrabbuh Mansour Hadi has taken refuge in the southern city of Aden, having escaped house arrest in the Houthi-controlled capital last month, and has condemned the attack in a letter to the families. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
And now let's get you more international news and updates in Global Buzz. In a goodwill gesture, Pakistani authorities today released 57 Indian fishing boats held for nearly a year. These boats, which were being held by the Pakistan Maritime Security Agency, were towed to the maritime border before being taken over by Indian authorities. Singaporeans offered flowers and messages to their first Prime Minister Lee Kuan Yew as the government said that his condition has worsened. Lee is the founding father of modern Singapore, which he led from 1959 till 1990. The 91-year-old leader has been in hospital since the 5th of February. The foreign ministers of South Korea, Japan and China held their first meeting in 3 years in Seoul in a bid to warm frosty ties and restore a regular three-way summit of their leaders. The summit meeting was stalled due to tensions over history and territory. A police officer shot a man at New Orleans airport in USA after he attacked 3 Transportation Security Administration agents while armed with a machete and wasp spray. The attacker was taken to a hospital where he went under surgery. Australia marked the end of its military operation in Afghanistan with welcome home parades in Canberra and Sydney on Saturday. The parades honoured those served in Operation Slipper, Australia's contribution to the battle launched by the US. More than 33,000 members of the Defence Force, Federal Police and Public Service were deployed in Afghanistan and the Middle East. That's it for the moment on the news at 6. Enjoy your Saturday evening.